You ever see a billionaire brought to his knees by a 10-year-old with a blue crayon? Yeah, that happened. I was there, sort of, sweeping up at Finch Innovations the night their whole future almost went up in smoke. And the crazy thing is, if Maria's daughter Lily hadn't been there, quietly trailing her mom down those polished halls, the story would have ended a whole lot differently. See, this wasn't your run-of-the-mill boardroom meltdown. We're talking end of the line, 48 hours to save a $1 billion project, the kind of deadline that breaks grown men. Alastair Finch, the guy who built half the skyline, the man with a handshake worth more than most people's houses, stood there looking like someone had hollowed him out, staring down a wall full of equations that just didn't add up. The engineers? Zombies. Their laptops, those glowing rectangles, looked more like funeral candles than anything hopeful. And outside, Maria is just pushing her janitor's cart, eyes on the floor, and little Lily follows close, sketchbook tucked under her arm. She stops at that glass boardroom, stares through the chaos, and out of nowhere says, so soft you almost miss it, "I can solve it." Let me back up a sec. This isn't a kid who shouts to be heard. Lily's the quiet kind, more likely to notice a spider web glinting in a corner than to jump in the middle of a crowd. Her mom works nights, 'cause they need every dollar. Lily tags along, does her drawing, keeps quiet, stays out of the way. Good kid. Still, this night, she sees something the grown-ups can't. Inside, it's all tension. Engineers tossing around words like unstable resonance, core meltdown, and fundamental flaw. Sterling, the lead guy, all sharp lines and tired eyes, says the machine's going to fail, simple as that. Alastair, barely hanging on, insists his late wife's theory is sound. Elena Finch, she was the real mind behind the ocean turbine, the one who saw the water as a partner, not an enemy. But Elena's gone, and now the dream's drowning just off the coast. The thing is, all their fancy math keeps crashing because they're trying to force the ocean to play by their rules, not the other way around. And Lily, standing in the hallway with her crayon-stained fingers, just blurts out the truth. They're fighting the water. You should have seen the look on Sterling's face, like someone handed him a flat tire and called it a prize. Security should have them removed, he snaps. But Alastair, he's listening. Broken as he is, something about Lily's voice, that odd clarity, it gets through. Alastair opens the boardroom door, kneels down right there in his suit, and says, "Show me." This is a man with nothing left to lose, and maybe that's why he's brave enough to listen to a janitor's kid with a blue crayon. Maria looks like she wants the earth to swallow her whole, but Lily just walks in, climbs up on a chair, and starts to draw. Not blades, not numbers. She draws a spiral, just like a seashell or a galaxy or the swirl of water in a drain. Blades shouldn't cut the water, she says. They should dance with it. Make the water happy, not tired. Sterling is fuming, calling it nonsense, but Alastair isn't hearing him. He remembers Elena on a beach, tracing a spiral shell with her finger, telling him nature always picks the path of least resistance. He tells Clara, the junior engineer, run a simulation, exactly like she drew it. The room splits in two, half thinking the old man's lost his mind, half just desperate enough to hope. Clara and the younger engineers start coding, building a model of Lily's spiral. The night grinds on, sandwiches untouched, everyone glued to the monitors. At some point, Lily falls asleep in the boardroom, blue crayon still in her fist, and Maria, hands white-knuckled, just watches. It's way past midnight when Clara finally calls out, "The simulation's ready." Alastair wakes Lily, everyone crowds around the screen, and this time, when they push the system to its breaking point, a rogue wave, maximum stress, the array doesn't shatter. The spiral blades don't fight the water, they move with it. The numbers spike green, then even higher, off the charts. Sterling can't speak. For a second, the only sound is Lily, quiet and happy, looking up at Alastair and saying, "It worked because we were friendly to the water." You never saw relief hit a man like it hit Alastair Finch that night. He fires Sterling on the spot. No drama, just cold, final authority. Your pride's bigger than your curiosity. Get out. And then he turns to Maria, tears in her eyes, and says, I think we'll need a parent on staff. For Lily, he names her the new design consultant. The janitor's daughter, now sitting at the head of the world's most important energy project. Life flips upside down for Maria and Lily. Next morning, a fancy car takes them from their old apartment to a bright house on a quiet street. Lily gets her own room, sky blue walls, books, and art supplies for days. Maria's got a real office now, a decent salary, respect in the eyes of people who used to walk right by her. The company? Transformed. The team calls Lily's breakthrough the seashell principle. Every day, she shows them how water wants to move, and the engineers finally start listening. Alistair, Maria, Lily. Yeah, they're a weird little family now, stitched together by loss and something like hope. But here's the twist. Not everyone's cheering. Sterling, out in exile, can't let it go. He tears apart the design, runs secret simulations, hunting for a flaw. His bitterness curdles into obsession until he finds it, a hidden vulnerability, not in the design, but in a specific alloy used for the pressure bolts. If the right frequency hums through those bolts, they'll break down from the inside. Sabotage. He bribes a foreman to swap out the materials and waits for the launch, certain he'll watch the dream crash and burn. And on launch day, the world is watching. Reporters, investors, politicians, all cheering as the Nuri array powers up. Lily presses the button. The turbines spin, the numbers skyrocket. But then, mid-celebration, something shifts. Lily sees it first, not in the readouts, but in the rhythm. It's angry, she whispers. And then the warnings start. Vibrations, warnings, red lights. The bolts shear, the turbines tear loose, the whole array rips itself apart live on screen. In his apartment, Sterling smiles. The fallout is brutal. Headlines call it Finch's folly. Investors pull out. Sterling gives smug, anonymous interviews. The world blames a child's naive design. Lily, once so bright, retreats. She thinks she broke the dream. Maria can't reach her, and even Alistair is crushed, forced to sell off his company piece by piece. But Alistair's not done. He sinks the last of his fortune into a salvage mission, hauls up the wreck, runs test after test. Official reports say the design was fatally flawed. But when Lily visits the hangar, she hears something in the audio logs, a wrong note, a mean whisper. Clara isolates the sound, cross-references it, and finds the truth. The wrong alloy, brittle from sabotage. The fault wasn't the spiral. It was a betrayal buried in steel. Confrontations quiet. A park bench, a recorder, and Sterling's smirk evaporating as he realizes he's been found out by a little girl's ear. Arrest comes quick. The world learns the truth, and Sterling's name becomes a curse in every engineering hall. A year later. No ceremony, no cameras, just the team, floating on a gray sea at dawn, watching a single green light blink from below. The Nuri array is alive again, stronger, quieter, steady as a heartbeat. Alistair leans on the railing, watching Lily sketch new spirals. He's kept his promise, and for the first time, he's at peace. Lily's song is the only one you hear. A happy, gentle tune the ocean seems to answer. And in that quiet, you realize it's not the loudest, strongest, or smartest who change the world. It's the ones humble enough to listen, to let the dance lead. If you made it this far, tell us, what do you think is the real power in this story? Share your thoughts below, tell us where you're watching from, and stick around for more. You never know who the next genius might be.